It's falling! Run! Help us! My children! Where are my children? The water is coming! Move the goats to higher ground now! Hurry! We have no time left!
Help me! It's collapsing!
Push on the corner! Harder!
خدایا خودش پناه میده لطفاً ازش مراقبت کن آب در بالا میمه.
In the high mountains of central Afghanistan, where winter holds on long after the calendar says it should be done, the snow began to change. It softened, sagged, and shifted beneath the sun, as if the earth itself was slowly waking from a long, deep sleep. For the Afghan Hazara family of Karim, his wife Fatima, their children Nasir, Maryam, and Sami, and the elder Baba Zahir, the sound of melting snow was a familiar one, but never simple. It meant relief, yes, but it also carried a warning of danger, because in these mountains, when snow melts too fast, water doesn't just whisper. It roars. Nasir was the first to notice. The small trickle of water near their terrace was widening with an unsettling speed. He crouched, placing his fingers into the stream, and felt a force growing within it. He didn't shout, he just ran to his father. In their family, alarm was understood in the eyes, not the voice. Karim stepped outside and listened not just to the small stream, but to the entire mountain. The far slopes were silent, yet he could feel the water gathering above them, coiled behind snow shelves and beneath vast ice sheets. It was ready to come down. With a calm urgency, he called the family to action, not with panic, but with purpose. Fatima and Maryam moved swiftly to the food storage room. Together, they lifted heavy clay jars of wheat and barley from the floor to higher shelves. They reinforced each lid with layers of cloth, a simple but vital defense against moisture that could ruin their winter supplies. Precious salt was wrapped in oiled leather, and dried fruit baskets were secured behind the highest beam in the room. Little Sami stayed close, carrying small jars one by one to the loft, counting aloud so his mother would always know where he was amidst the quiet rush of activity. Outside, Karim and Nasir began to cut a new trench along the high side of the yard. They were shaping a path for the meltwater, directing it before it could choose a destructive one of its own. They built the beginnings of a small earth wall beside the goat shelter, pressing mud, straw, and hardened snow together with their boots, creating a barrier designed to slow the first powerful ruse. They reinforced the foundation stones of the shelter with willow branches collected earlier in the season, weaving them tightly to help the structure resist the water's force instead of pulling apart under its weight. By afternoon, the stream had tripled in size. Its voice deepened from a trickle to a growl. It no longer floated pushed. And then, help arrived. Neighbors appeared from nearby homes, because in these mountains, when one family is threatened, the entire village answers the call. Men joined Karim and Nasir, digging into the trench work with renewed strength. Women brought rope, cloth, and extra tools, their presence a quiet promise of solidarity. Children gathered brush and dry thorns, stacking them where the banks of the growing stream looked weak. At the center of it all, the Afghan Hazara family worked, each person in their place, moving with an unspoken understanding. As dusk fell, the mountain finally released the water it had been holding. A surge roared into the valley, raising the stream so quickly it seemed to stand up and run. It slammed against the new earthen berm, spilled past it, and raced straight for the goat shelter. The animals panicked, their bells clanging wildly as they pushed to the back of their pen. Karim shouted for the side gate to be opened. Nasir heaved on the rope, while Fatima and Maryam waved their shawls, trying to guide the frightened herd toward the safety of higher ground. Most of the goats scrambled uphill but one, a pregnant nanny, froze in fear at the shelter door as the cold water battered her legs. Without a moment's hesitation, Karim waded into the flood. He wrapped both arms around the nanny's chest and lifted, his muscles straining against the powerful current. The water shoved him sideways, but Nasir was ready. He threw his father a rope, and together, son and father hauled both the goat and the man onto safe, solid ground. The shelter was still standing, but the flood was far from over. The meltwater was now spreading across the terrace above the house, sliding downward in a wide, relentless sheet. This was a new, insidious threat. If the earth softened too much, the very walls of their home would not hold. Karim called for a new channel to be cut, not where it was easy, but where it was absolutely necessary. The men attacked the terrace with shovels and picks, carving a diagonal path through the earth. They were creating a new slope, one that would pull the sheet of water away from the house and guide it back into the mainstream bed. Arms burned, knees shook, boots sank into the sucking mud, but slowly the channel deepened, and the flood began to obey, abandoning the house walls and pouring back toward the river's original course. The night grew long and heavy, lantern light flickering over exhausted faces. The work never stopped, not for a single moment. It was a constant, unbroken flow of action. Karim lifted heavy stones, placing them into the weakest sections of the burn. Nasir tirelessly shoveled mud from the trench, keeping its depth clear. Fatima checked the food stores again and again, ensuring not a single grain was lost. Mariam stayed with the goats, her calm presence keeping them from panic and injury. Young Sami became the messenger, carrying messages and warm cloths to anyone who needed them. And through it all, Baba Zahir kept watch, his old eyes closed. He was reading the ground by sound and vibration, guiding their decisions when sight alone was not enough. Every movement flowed into the next. The work was alive. And finally, as dawn began to hint at the eastern peaks, the force of the flood began to lessen. The stream lowered. The urgent, crushing pressure eased. The water was still strong, but it was no longer rising. When the first light of morning touched the mountains, the truth was laid bare. The home still stood. The grain remained dry. The goat shelter, though bruised and battered, had not fallen. The entire herd, including the pregnant nanny, had survived. The family and their community had done it together. There was no celebration, no great cheer. There was only the quiet sharing of breath, a shared strength, and the tired, steady understanding of what had just been preserved. In these mountains, spring does not arrive gently. It always tests the living first. But the Afghan Hazara family had endured, side by side, with a courage woven from generations of survival. They did not escape the flood. They stood and faced it, and together they held their ground. Thank you for watching. If this story of resilience and community touched you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel for more stories that matter. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Dig the channel deeper, over there. Move the water away before it reaches the foundation.
Faster! Keep moving the stones! We are almost there! Hurry!